Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidate interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Joy Cardine, and I would like to introduce Aslam Rakhangi, who is running for alder in District 20. As we begin, I'd like you to give an opening statement about the educational, vocational, and civic experience that you have, which qualifies you for this office, and why you're running for alder.
Okay. Thank you, Joy, for the opportunity to speak with the League of Women's Voters. I think to begin with, I want to begin by saying that I'm so proud to be on the ballot, first of all. So it's like a dream come true for somebody who's come from India and I have a background in all my first 24 years of life in India. I think this is a great feat for me to be on the ballot. So I really appreciate what I've done, and I really appreciate how the support that I got from the community. As far as my background is concerned, I grew up in Mumbai, India, in a lower middle income family. I went to school in India and then came to the United States 25 years ago to do my undergrad degrees through Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin. And then since that, I've lived in Madison almost 25 years. I did my MBA from UW-Madison, and I have raised my family here. Lived in District 20 for 11 years now, and I have seen a lot of ups and downs, and through my brought up through my multicultural global experience, travel, and all of that. And I was as I'm raising my three daughters here, I've visited quite a few parks around the neighborhood, and that's when it struck me as I'm also involved with a lot of sports activity with the community and in promoting sports and promoting equity in sports, with bringing in women in sports and all of that. So that's where the bug sort of like caught me, and I started with. In fact, I actually interviewed for an interim alder position for District 20, which was open last summer. And then that's when I started formally getting into this arena. There's a lot to learn for me, but there's definitely a perspective and new ideas that are going to flow through as I step into this role. And that's why I really feel like I have a lot to offer to the city, and not only me, but I think there's a growing population of Asian American in Madison. About 9% population is Asian American, and having that representation, having that voice, and having that understanding, I think it's going to be vital, critical for us, just to work with the city council on how to serve some of the diverse population that's growing in the community, and how to assimilate them, and how to get their whatever they have to bring into the table, whether it's and this is a very affluent community. So I think by joining or by serving, I'm going to inspire others to do the same, and and also make sure that there is a connection between city authorities and the growing population and the diverse population that we have, and that's why I'm running.
What actions or programs would you support to enhance public safety in Madison? And in particular, what's your position on the use of body cameras by Madison police officers?
Yeah, I think first let's talk about safety. I've lived, and I should say I've survived multiple communal riots in this country that I grew up in, and like I said, my neighborhood was lower income neighborhood, and a lot of crimes and a lot of communal violence, communal riots. Some of the best control or taken care situation was when there is an engagement from the community. When there is, by the time the police gets involved, I think you're already at the end of the game. So it's prevention is better than cure. I think some of the things that you would like to do, or I would like to do, is having those hope and positivity and constructive community type of things in the community to make sure that this what we define as safe is delivered, right? As an example, I was actually in Brazil for my MBA tour. Some of the very well neighborhoods there were walled. and the rich, so-called rich people were safe because they were in like huge, their walls were higher than their houses, right? If that's the definition of safety, then sorry to say that that's not safe, right? So we need to make sure that we become inclusive. We give hope to people that are at the lower strata of the economy, and provide that for them a means to be a healthy member of the community, right? That's where I think the safe part comes in. As far as policing concerned, I think City of Madison Police does a fabulous job. I've seen them around in parks and things like that. They interact, they mingle with people. I think we need more of that. When it comes to body cameras, I think that's a subject that has to be looked at carefully. And when I get into that position, I think some of the reports that's being done in the last couple of years will guide us to take the right actions. There are pros and cons. There's people on both sides of the aisle to do that, but I think that's a conversation that we need to have, knowing what the intent, what the purpose is, and what end of the day, I think the police does a fabulous job. The other thing we have to be careful is also when we talk about force, we need to be at whether the response that we have is in line with what the crime is. Is it a mob thing? Is it a single person? Is it because of the mental situation? I think we need to have an appropriate response based on the type of the thing. And I think the CARES initiative, or where we have mental health embedded with the police, I think that those are the type of things that we should look at first, and before even thinking about some of the major overhauls.
Next question. What do you see as the most important environmental issues the city needs to address, and what will be your priorities for council action on those issues?
Yeah, I think environmental issues, I don't think it's a district thing, it's a city thing. Now that we hear that it's a global thing, and everybody needs to be first educated that there is an issue, right? If we don't acknowledge there's an issue, we don't work towards solutioning, right? We have tremendous resources here. We have a lot of for-profit companies who are actually engaging into some of the initiatives, right? I think we need to, as a city, as a town, we need to engage with those companies and find ways to invest in means to reduce our carbon footprint. Some of that could be, I think COVID has taught us some lessons that we can do a lot of work done without driving our cars. If we invest in some of those means, whether it's technology, whether it's public transportation, so that people can do their job without really driving their car. I think that's a big thing, right? I mean, we survived 2 years of not going to work. Obviously there's some other mental things that we need to take care of, but I think there are things like, I personally work from home, almost 3 days a week. That not because I can't go to work and I don't like to go to work. I think part of that is, just education, that if I don't drive, I am actually saving the environment. I think some of those grassroots level type of things that can be initiated by the corporates, I think those are important steps to be taken, even within the district, right? I mean, you talk about our disposal, garbage disposal. I think those are all these grassroots things that we should really care about.
What's your position on increasing the pay for alders?
I personally feel like one, I don't know how much it should be the increase, right? Two, I think if you are in this, I think there's more time needed for an alder to be engaging and doing all the things that we talk about, right? Otherwise, it's a status quo which is running the show, right? If you need some innovative ideas, if you need a deeper engagement, I think there's a little more commitment that is needed from the alder, from the city council. And I'm actually willing to do that more commitment without really referring to what should be the the compensation for that. I think it's first do we agree that there should be a higher engagement from the elder, right? That is the question. The pay part comes afterwards to me, right? So I think we need to have an agreement, and I support that we should probably have a deeper engagement. I think it's a very critical and important job for an elder. It is not just, when things come, we look at it. I think it's proactively going out and engaging with the community. And that proactive engagement requires time, requires effort, requires energy. And if you're taking somebody away from their day job, I think that has to be appropriately compensated. And we encourage other people to come in, right? People of color and just for the sake of equity, I think we'll do a justice with that role.
What, if anything, do you think the city should be doing to support economic development?
I think from my district, I can say that it's zoned so that there right now it is not very business conducive zone. There's not too many brick and mortar stores, and the way the economy is going, the way things are moving now, more and more businesses are getting online. More and more businesses are getting technology driven, right? I think to boost that, and maybe I'm biased because I come from a technology background, is there's a lot that can be done to invest in our youth, to teach them how to get a startup, a technology startup, or an energy startup type of thing going. That effort should be there. I feel like there's a lot of Asians, diverse population that needs to learn about ease of doing business. So I think that's important. They are all pretty good at what they do. They need guidance to how to get started. They need guidance of what the taxation rules are. They need guidance on what the licenses that you. I think we need to streamline some of those elements. Not saying that it's not there yet. I mean, I personally run a small business also online, but a majority of time is not my niche. I'm working towards how do I get all these government things taken care versus what I deliver to my customers, right? So if we bridge that gap and do that, I think that's the step forward in terms of economic development for the city, for the town, and for my district as well.
How do you see racial disparities impacting constituents in your district? And are there any actions the city should take to address those disparities?
First action, the acknowledgement that there is disparity. When we talk about racial disparity, right? It's first of all, let's talk about equity. What is equity, right? Equity doesn't mean it's equal for all. It's raising underprivileged to a level playing field. I think that's what needs to be understood first, right? So that we take the right actions. I think we need more places for people to come and interact. I think we need more avenues for people to understand each other. And I can give a quick example of there's a lot of D&I work that has happened in the last 10 years in the companies that I've worked for, in the communities that I've worked for. That we talk about a lot, but unless we engage them to say what you need. And as an example, I can just, this might sound like a little bit of too micro type of an issue, but it is true, right? We say, we accommodate or all the D&I efforts, right? Today, there's a considerable amount of Asian population. They don't use toilet paper for their using toilets, right? There's not a single bathroom in the city that addresses that issue, right? How do you engage that? How do you do that changes? I mean, there's toilets for now. We started having those stalls for different things, which is great. I think I applaud that people are thinking about that. But there is other elements also. So I think that's where we need to get engaged at the grassroots level and make sure that disparity is taken care. And then economically also, some of the organizations that do engage youth of color into a non-profit type of where they're teaching people, these folks to learn their livelihood and make them stand with the rest of the folks. I think that's a great initiative. I've worked with MADM, which is a technology firm that takes women of color and underprivileged and teach them technology. Those type of initiatives, I think those are great and we should support them.
What are the most critical issues you see facing the people in your district, and what do you propose to address them?
Uh, I think, safety is probably one, and then public transportation is another one. And these things, they don't sit in isolation, right? When we talk about environment, we talk about public transportation, we talk about safety, we talk about economic, uplifting economically people, right? So they don't sit in isolation. But I would say that safety, when I go around Elva Park, and when I go around the district, I think there's more that can be done so that people feel safe. I don't think it's criminal in the neighborhood. I just feel that there can be more done to make sure that our facilities, our park, are inclusive, are not inclusive for the sake of saying, yeah, everybody can come. Inclusive in the sense that everybody feels welcomed and taken care, type of thing. I think that's what it is. And if I'm an alder on city council, I think I'm going to propose some of those things that we do at the grassroots level, where we, reach out and have those conversations, have those community gatherings, have those, sharing of information. One of the things that I'm involved at the Elver Park is the Elver Park Master Plan that is actually going to be creating an inclusive place for different sports. One of them is cricket, and I come from India where cricket is big. I'm actually working with neighborhoods here to bring women into that sports, right? And I've done some work over the last 2 years, and there's quite a few women who started playing. So that's my contribution. And I think not only cricket but soccer, other sports, that should become a field, and a lot of families come there. I think those are the type of steps that I would take to make people feel like they're safe.
Finally, what would you like to say to our viewers as we complete the interview?
Uh, to succeed as a community, I think we must be open to new ideas and adapt to like our changing circumstances. As a member of Common Council, I am committed to bringing fresh perspective and inclusive solutions to address the need of my district and drive the development of the entire city of Madison. And then, I'm actually humble and grateful for the support that I have received from the community. Your encouragement and positive feedback has truly inspiring. Um, while I might not have all the answers, I am dedicated to being a responsive and an engaged leader, always listening to the needs of my constituents, my community, and working tirelessly on your behalf. So do check me out on rakhangiformadison.com.
I want to thank Aslam Rakhangi for speaking with us, and thanks to our viewers for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone the primary election day is Tuesday, February 21st. The general election is Tuesday, April 4th. As with every election, please vote. On behalf of Madison's City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, thank you for joining us.